We have reached peak long pole linear performance. The Neson Design, Neson? The Neson Design Camping Life checks all the boxes for the current state of the long pole linear meta of 2022. A full palm housing, a P3 stem, and a 20mm long single stage spring. But there's one quirk that I noticed on the Geek Hack interest check page linked below, so check it out right after you pitch a tent and camp your finger on that like button. Pitch a tent? First, who is Neson Design? They don't have a website, but from the information I gathered across Geek Hack and Reddit, Simon, the person behind Neson Design, has been in the mechanical keyboard space since at least 2018, and has designed at least one keyboard in collaboration with Fox Lab, who's probably best known for the Time 80T KL. In 2021, iNet Studio rebranded to Neson Design, and they've released several different keyboards, although from what I can tell, the Camping Life is their first Switch design. From the packaging to the overall theme of the Switch, the camping theme immediately brings a popular keycap set to mind, and that's for good reason. The Camping Life was designed in collaboration with King Nesty, who's the designer behind possibly one of the rarest modern keycap sets ever. Before GMK Darling, before Olivia Round 1, there was SA Camping. First released in a China-only group buy in 2016, there were only around 50 sets produced for the international market. And if you look back at r/mechanical keyboards from 2017, it was the ultimate flex. 2017 was right around the time I got into the hobby, and I remember coveting this set for my own tofu build, up until I tried and hated SA for the first time. SA Camping is up there with SA Olivia as one of the rarest sets that were publicly released, but let me know in the comments below if you know of any other unobtainium sets. Before we go any further, let's go to the stock typing test. These switches are really good stock, and they're very clean sounding with none of the crap sounds, crunch, rattle, and ping that I've come to expect from JWK switches. Some of the switches have a tiny bit of leaf noise when pushing off-centered, but overall I'm amazed at how good these are. I'm not sure what Neson Design has done as far as customizing the mold or the manufacturing process of these switches, but they are insanely smooth. I'd say the sound signature with ABS keycaps is pretty clacky, as it is to be expected with a long pole linear switch, but they aren't super high pitched due to the full palm housing, which I like. Now let's hear them with some PBT keycaps. For this test, I'll be using Nice PBT Type 6 from Canon Keys. I have to say, I'm a sucker for PBT keycaps, and I think the main advantage that GMK keycaps had, that being the endless color combinations that really couldn't be matched, is greatly reduced now that there are so many different high-quality PBT sets across pretty much every vendor. However, I think long poles in general sound better when paired with ABS keycaps for maximum clack. Also, these round 1 stabies probably aren't the best stabilizers to pair with PBT keycaps, as there's something really wonky going on with the spacebar. I'll have to do more testing, but overall the PBT keycaps mute some of the high end of the switches and make them sound more neutral. I've decided to try something new in this video, where instead of doing comparisons with other switches, I built a different endgame worthy build as sort of a best case scenario. Today we'll be looking at the GeonWorks F188 with a V1 alu plate built with lubed and filmed Camping Life switches. Keycaps are GMK Ursa. Here's the sound test. It's safe to say that these switches sound way better in the F1 than they do in the Polaris, but it's kind of an apples to oranges comparison. That being said, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, there are a lot of things to like about these switches, including the beautiful stock experience. With so many bangers being released pretty much daily that are great right out of the box, an inferior stock experience is almost unacceptable these days. I compared the lubed and filmed Camping Life switches to the stock switches off camera, and I found that filming was definitely not necessary, although it slightly brought down the pitch of the sound and it reduced the upstroke sound. As for lubing, I was told that these switches get better with lube, but in this case they only elevated an already great stock experience. That being said, it's not all peaches and rainbows here in camping land. Although there are no objective bads that I could find to these switches, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is the price. At $23 per box for 35 switches, the Camping Life works out to just over 65 cents per switch. Of course, there are a lot of factors that absolutely justify the price. Forgetting about the color matched housing, the P3 stem and the noiseless spring all bring up the cost compared to your run-of-the-mill JWK recolor. However, in times like these where every penny counts, I'd love to see if Neson Gear could bring the price down to about 60 cents per switch, possibly by working with a vendor like KTT or Haimu for a possible V2. But the bottom line is these switches are phenomenal, and it's great to see in-stock enthusiast grade switches at a decent price. Check out some more switch reviews here. I'm MakerMods, and I'll catch you in the next video.